Today we're going to tackle 3 words that often trip people up: preceding, previous, and prior. They all mean before in some way, but there are subtle differences. Think of it like this: preceding is the most specific. It refers to something that comes immediately before something else. Like the sentence preceding this one, or the page preceding this one in your textbook. Example: please refer to the preceding chapter for a review of basic grammar. Previous is a bit more general. It means something that happened or existed before, but not necessarily right before. It could be any time in the past. Example: in my previous job, I worked as a barista. Prior is similar to previous, but it often implies a greater importance or priority. You might use it to talk about something that needs to be done before something else can happen. Example: you must have prior authorization before you can access this information. Here's a trick to remember: preceding is for things that come right before. Previous is for things that happened earlier in time. Prior is for things that are more important or need to happen first. Based on our prior analysis. Based on our prior analysis, we should invest more in R&D.
Based on our prior results, this strategy works.
Based on our prior agreement, I've prepared the draft.
Based on our prior analysis. In light of the previous quarter's results. In light of the previous quarter's results, we need a new approach.
In light of the previous feedback, we revised the proposal.
In light of the previous data, let's adjust our forecast.
In light of the previous quarter's results. Reflecting on the preceding discussions. Reflecting on the preceding discussions, it's clear we need to pivot.
Reflecting on the preceding challenges, we've developed a new plan.
Reflecting on the preceding points, I agree with most but not all.
Reflecting on the preceding discussions. Prior to our merger. Prior to our merger, both companies had different policies.
Prior to our rebranding, we must conduct market research.
Prior to the launch, let's review all compliance requirements.
Prior to our merger. Looking back at previous collaborations. Looking back at previous collaborations, we've seen great success.
Looking back at previous projects, we need to manage timelines better.
Looking back at previous initiatives, we should expand some and end others.
Looking back at previous collaborations. Given the previous agreements. Given the previous agreements, we are already committed to certain terms.
Given the previous discussions, how shall we proceed?
Given the previous strategies, we need a more innovative approach this year.
Given the previous agreements. Considering our prior experiences. Considering our prior experiences, this market is tough but lucrative.
Considering our prior failures, we've adjusted our approach significantly.
Considering our prior successes, let's replicate those tactics.
Considering our prior experiences. From the preceding analysis. From the preceding analysis, it's evident we need to adjust our pricing strategy.
From the preceding year's performance, we are on track to meet our goals.
From the preceding user feedback, we have several areas to improve.
From the preceding analysis.
In the preceding sprint, we focused on implementing the user authentication feature. This sprint, we need to tackle the database integration.
Exactly. During the previous integration attempt, we encountered several issues with API compatibility, which delayed our timeline.
To avoid similar delays, we should ensure that all components are tested prior to the next release, especially focusing on API testing.
That's a good call. Let's have the QA team review the previous test cases and add any new ones needed for the database module. In the preceding meeting, we discussed the overall project timeline. Now, we need to focus on specific deliverables.
Yes, but I believe we didn't cover the market analysis in detail. Our previous analysis showed that we might face challenges in launching during the holiday season.
I agree. Prior to finalizing the launch date, we need to address these market challenges and ensure our logistics are prepared.
Good point. Let's review the previous data from our logistics team and ensure there's alignment on the shipping schedules.